Hello everyone and welcome to Groom's classes. Today we'll be doing managing forest grazing. Okay, and in that we'll study causes and consequences of overgrazing. Now, what do we mean by grazing? Now, animals, especially the bovines, okay, like and antelopes are also there, like cow, buffalo, deers, etc. Okay, they like horses also. They graze. They eat the plants. Okay. Now, advantage of grazing is also there, okay, but compared to advantage, more disadvantage of grazing is there because if the grazing is not, controlled, then it is called overgrazing. Undergrazing means, when undergrazing is done, then an area always will have, small, will have the cover of grasses. When grazing is properly done or is controlled, then then that area is seen, covered with grass. Will not have bushes on them because bushes are always being eaten by the herbivores, okay, the grazers, grazing animals, and as a result, that piece of land always has lush green, a blanket of grass is seen normally, or small, herbs are seen. In fact, but if that is overeaten, overgrazing is done, then what happens is that the small amount of plant, the shoot that is about to grow, is also eaten, and it is not given enough time to recover, enough time to grow. As a result, what happens is that the plant cannot stabilize itself, cannot grow enough, and then the it dies. When it dies, the soil becomes loose, and as a result, the consequences are there. Because there is a piece of land, and animals come and they eat the grass, and they eat the plants over there. There is a carrying capacity. Yes or no? The land also can have certain amount of animals that it can, it can sustain. More than that, what will happen is more number of animals, frequent grazing, higher number of cattle will overeat the plants, will overeat the vegetation over there. As a result, and the plants will not get enough time to recover, enough time to grow. Minimum 3 to 4 days are needed, but they don't get that time also. Okay, if the next day also animal goes and then they graze there only, then the plant, there is a high chance of the plants to die. Yes or no? So the land has a particular carrying capacity, but frequent grazing and high number of cattle can kill the plant permanently, and it can damage the vegetation permanently. As a result, what are the consequences? There could be soil erosion, wind erosion, or wind can also carry the topsoil that will cause desertification. Flood will occur, landslides can be there, land degradation means later on vegetation cannot occur there. Later on the soil will not be fertile enough. Okay, the soil will be dry, and then the temperature of the soil also will rise. In fact, why? Because water holding capacity of the soil will fall down, and this definitely will change the rainfall pattern also. Will affect the climate, will affect the water cycle of that particular place. So that is why, grazing is important, okay, but it has to be managed because overgrazing is not good. Okay, and what are the causes and consequences? I have already written here on the board. Okay, so I hope you understood what are the consequences. The desertification of the land, it can cause increment in desert formation, that is desertification. So that is why, okay, we have is here now next topic, that is National Forest Policy 1988. Now, the colonial national forest, the colonial forest policy is also there. They're about, when British were there in India, they also had a forest policy during the 1800 time. They also had a forest policy, but the forest policy that they made was actually, made for their benefits. Okay, so the forest policy had something meant for commercial use of forest. Okay, so they wanted to, because of that policy, also the forest was, exploited. So when India became independent, and in their 1952 again, a second national forest policy was also there, whereby the forest policy had, a target whereby they wanted to increase the forest policy in 1952 major thing was, um, main aim and objective was to increase the forest, area, okay, minimum up to 33 percentage. So I hope here I have here 33 percentage. Okay, because of a, of a country, one third of the land of the country should be under forest. Okay, so that is why, and even in, and if you talk about hilly areas, if you talk about like Himalayan belts and all, like here in Kashmir and Darjeeling, two-third of the area should be under forest. Okay. Now, again in the year 1988, a national forest policy was introduced. Okay, and in which emphasized upon the upon these points. One was environmental stability. Definitely. Now what we can see is environmental stability is not there. We are expecting winter during the winter time, but we don't see winter. We expect summertime, but we don't see summertime. We expect rainy season during the rainy season, rain during the rainy season time. We are finding alteration in the seasons also. Environmental stability is not there. Today you find, like now also India is, like on the in the Bay of Bengal, a cyclone is coming. On the like in Mumbai, another cyclone is hitting. Just see why time and again cyclone is hitting our country or all over the world is because the whole the nature has been changed. The world has been impacted, is under threat. Why? Because the vegetation, because the nature has been altered. Okay, that stability is not there. As a result, as a result, we find is twisters, tornadoes. We find is all these heavy rainfalls. Cloud bursts are also seen. So environmental stability. So that is why national forest policy emphasized upon environmental stability and conservation. Number two was conservation. To conserve land, to conserve soil, to conserve the quality of the soil, to conserve water, to conserve the environment, to conserve animals. Okay, because animals are being extinct, animals are becoming rare, animals are becoming vulnerable. The numbers are going low. They are being killed. Their poachers are killing them for skin, for hide, for tusk, for bones, for medicinal purposes. So that is why to conserve and to check soil erosion. Definitely, if you have is a forest cover, soil erosion also will be checked. Okay, and to meet the food, fodder, and the needs of the tribal people, because tribal right. Again, the under national forest policy, again tribal rights is also there, whereby the tribal people living inside the forest, living in and out of the forest area, are given the rights, are given the benefits to go inside the forest and collect minor products from the forest, like wood, or some fodders, or like seeds, resins, okay, and the leaves. So they are allowed to. In return, they have to look after the forest. Okay, so this is a mutual understanding between the government and the tribal people, and then that is why forest has to be conserved and has to be looked in such a way that the tribal people and their needs are also, are also conserved, are checked. Okay, to increase the national forest need also, because forest is not a thing whereby we conservation doesn't mean not to cut the trees. Conservation means we need to cut the trees in such a way that if we cut one, we need to plant trees, 10 trees, the minimum. Or another is sustainably, we need to cut, whereby we definitely we need trees. Okay, without trees, because our whole life, the whole living style, okay, up to now are dependent upon trees, animal trees, the trees products. Okay, forest products. Okay, and because we get so many things, minor products, major products from forest, timber, we get paper, we get medicines, we get gum, we get resins, we get, yes or no. Okay, but we need to increase that national forest need also, according to the nation and according to the nation's need also, the for like economically also, what are the trees important. Okay, or the shelter belts can be, okay, or like we have is, and based upon this only we have is social forestry, we have is extension forestry, scientific forestries are also there. Okay, and under national forest policy, the one of the main aim was to stop sand dune extension, because every year, every month, okay, there is an extension of desert. Why? Because of overgrazing, because of mishandling of the forest, because of low water concentration in the soil, change in the weather pattern, change in the season climate pattern, the desert is increasing. So one is to stop the desertification, or sand dune extension, and to increase the forest cover area up to 33%. You know, previously the forest cover in India was 19%, but now it has increased, in fact. Okay, and it is a result of national forest policy. Okay, so it has grown up to 22%. Okay, and another very important thing which may not look so important, but is very important. That is involvement of the people, involvement of common man, involvement of tribal people, and involvement of women like Sundarlal Bahugana. Yes or no? Very unfortunate, very sad to like hear that he passed away yesterday only. Okay, but he was a person. Okay, to guide the forest. He was a person to conserve the forest. He was a person to step forward for the for protection of the forest, okay, and the trees, plants, etc. Okay, so dear students, national forest policy, 1988. Okay, these are the points. Okay, so kindly go for it. Next is alternative to timber, that is recycling of timber and paper. Till now we have studied only what is we have studied recycling of aluminum, recycling of paper. Okay, but here we have is recycling of timber. Recycling of timber means not actually going recycling means not shredding of the trees and then again recycling, but recycling means reusing of the timber and then the wood and the wood products. Okay, up to the up to how much it can be used. For example, a house is there, a wooden house is there, and the house is suppose dismantled. Okay, but instead of dismantling the house randomly, how about dismantling the house in such a way that the wood can be reused again, the planks can be reused in other places, or it can be reused in making furniture, or it can be reused in making other other items of wood. Okay, so all these things is known as recycling of timber. Definitely it has certain drawbacks also, like the quality of the work may not be good, or the quality of the out product result may not be that good. It is time taking, that's a different thing. But then also everything has pros and cons. But then also recycling of timber is one of the best use. Like we also, even in a house also, we do recycling of timber. Yes or no? Say suppose old wooden logs are also there, wooden planks are there. We use that wooden planks again for making certain like tables or muras and all. In Nepali terms, we have is yes sir. Even we make is in Nepali's house we have is pira. Yes or no? Okay, long time back we used to have piras. Nowadays, very less people they have is pira. If you go to villages now, still you find is pira. Pira means a small, a stool type. Okay, and especially now actually it is made from old planks only. So long time back, our ancestors they knew very well about recycling of timbers. And who doesn't know about recycling of paper? Paper recycling is very important, is because in the mill also, the in the mill also when paper is made, then paper bits are shredded. Okay, some parts are cut down, some parts are not needed, so they again are recycled. Yes or no? And then again, the pre-consumer, post-consumer, pre-production, post-consumer also there, whereby the paper which comes again, if you give back to the recyclers or for recycling, paper recycling is very important, because 35% of a solid waste. Say suppose in USA, if you throw, say suppose here in India also, compared to villages, the cities they produce more waste and more solid waste. Why? Because we use so many different types of items. For example, if you go and buy a simple cloth from or from any place, what you get is a card box is there, and inside there will be a small paper also. So many things are there. So 35% is, say suppose a solid waste is there, then out of that solid waste 35% is paper. So which if can be recycled, or if it is recycled, then it can reduce water pollution up to 35% and air pollution up to 74%. See, so it's very good to recycle paper. Even what we can do is we can reuse also. Yes or no? We can reuse. Say suppose even you people also have your old last year's copy. The last year's copy is unused paper would be there. Instead of just tearing and throwing out, what you can do is you can again take it out. Yes, and then you can staple it. You can make a rough copy. You can make a new copy. That is how you make the reuse. Or like old papers are also there, you can make small paper notes, whereby if you want to write anything, even at home also, where your mother can use, your father can use, your house members can use. Yes or no? You can make a small notebook also. So it's all about recycling. Not only recycling, it's about reusing paper. Reusing the paper also will reduce the pressure upon the environment, the pressure upon the air and water, and will reduce the pollution up to a great extent. So it is all up to us. Yes or no? Because charity begins at home, and a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and that step should be yours, ours, mine. Okay. So, dear students, kindly go through it. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.